Welcome to the Purple Positivity Podcast for April the 4th, 2018. 4-4. I like symmetry like that. I am your host, the amazingly adorable and slightly OCD, Rebecca Thistle, podcasting to you live-ish from my kitchen/dining room table in my apartment, which I call Jeffrey Thistlework. Yay! So, I wanted to do this show last week, but as soon as I started talking about this, I got really frustrated and really upset, and it was really difficult to talk about. And so I put it aside and said, I'll do it later. It's, if you're a procrastinator like me, sometimes later turns into never, but later turned into Wednesday, April 4th. So, but in the meantime, I just sat there thinking about it and borderline obsessing about it. I'm like, Becca, why can't you talk about this? Why can't you talk about fairy tales? Like, why can't you, why is this hard for you? And I don't think I have an answer to that question, but ultimately, I think that the harder it is to talk about something, the more important it is to talk about. So that's why I'm doing this show. So this could be a really difficult show for me. It could take a while. So, fairy tales. I don't know about any other middle-class white girl, but I was raised on fairy tales. This idea, and when I talk about the fairy tale, what I mean is this idea that someday my prince will come, and if I am selfless and kind and giving and quiet and passive enough, he, i.e. Prince Charming, will see how wonderful I am, and he will whisk me off, and we will live happily ever after. That is the fairy tale that I believed in, and in some ways I still believe in. And not helped by Disney, but even further not helped by the fact that I've always been extremely socially awkward and socially isolated. And so the vast majority of my understanding regarding human interaction in general, but, human mating habits specifically, comes from books and movies and stuff like that. And I was a voracious reader when I was a kid, all the way up until when I actually lost my vision when I was 17, and it had gotten bad enough that I couldn't read anymore. But I was an avid reader, and I loved books, and I loved, a good little love story. And I especially loved, non-traditional love stories. One of my favorite books I remember for many years was actually a sort of different take on the Cinderella story. It was called Ella Enchanted. They made a movie out of it that sucked. Oh, you know, it's people like to make fun of Anne Hathaway for being so, like, I don't know, goody two shoes or something. And I just sit there and I'm like, I don't like her, not because she's not good at what she does, not because she's not talented, not because I'm jealous of her, not because I can hate her. I'm mad at her because she did The Princess Diaries and Ella Enchanted, and both of those totally fucked up the books they were based on. Side note. So, you know, I liked fairy tales. I believed in the fairy tale, but I also really liked, you know, stories that twisted the fairy tale, but they always ended in happily ever after, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a happily ever after. So, when my son's father came into my life, he, I don't want to say his full name, so I will simply call him JC, which is a terrible pseudonym if you actually know him. But when JC came into my life, he correctly assumed that I had been raised on the fairy tale, and he used the fairy tale to manipulate me into getting what he wanted. And now I'm still not entirely sure what it was he wanted out of me, but at the very least it was a place to live where he had minimal bills to pay and food in his stomach. And who better to provide that than moi? So when I eventually left the situation with JC and went to live on Damagran, for further reference, I suggest you listen to last week's show about how to save lives with cookies. I started, anyways, when I went to go live on Damagran, I started thinking about, you know, and doing this autopsy on that entire relationship and where it went wrong and what the warning signs should have been. And that was when I realized that JC had used the fairy tale against me. And so I started berating myself on a regular basis for believing in the fairy tale at all, for wanting any kind of fairy tale, traditional or non-traditional, the fairy tale, the bastardized fairy tale, anything, you know, I mean, here's how messed up it is, you guys. I say as though there's more than like 4 people that listen to this show. I would look in the mirror and I would say to myself, and I'm kind of ashamed to say this out loud, but it's true. I've got to be real with you. I'd look in the mirror and I'd say, look at you, Becca. Look at you. You are short. You're overweight. Half your face doesn't move. So you're in no way, you're not pretty. You're not physically or aesthetically pleasing on a superficial level. And yeah, sure, you're fun, you're smart, you're intelligent, you can hold a good conversation, you've got a good heart, but who's gonna want you? You don't look good and you got a kid. You're a single mom, you're damaged goods. Nobody's gonna want you. There's no fairy tale for you. Stop believing in it. Stop believing that you're ever going to get a happily ever after. And, oh my God, I didn't mean to cry on this show. But I'd say these horrible things to myself. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy. So, I'm gonna take a little pause here. So you won't notice it, but I will. So, a few weeks ago, I started talking to someone. If you follow me on social media, you know I talk about a someone in all caps. So a few weeks ago, I started talking to all caps someone, and this all caps someone is a really amazing person. And I mean, just, I think the closest that I've come in the past 6 years, 7 years to feeling this way about anyone was actually when I read the Iron Druid Chronicles for the first time. I just completely fell in love with Atticus O'Sullivan. I'm not even gonna lie, that's my soulmate. And my all caps someone knows. And I think is kind of amused by it. I hope he's kind of amused by it. Anyways, so this person is just so, he's so intelligent, and he's so honest, and he's so funny, and and I mean, like, oh my God, he is really good looking, but, you know, that sort of takes a back seat to everything else about him, to be honest with you. Like, that's just sort of, you know, the cherry on top. Or in the case of, you know, I work next door to a Sonic, and yesterday, one of the car hops, I think it was this car hop that arranged this. I ordered a Diet Dr. Pepper with cherry and vanilla. And normally when you do that, it's just the syrup in there. Come to find out, there were a couple of cherries in the bottom, and I was pretty sure it was that car hop that did it. Because I'm pretty sure it was that car hop that actually took the order. So, it was cute. Anyways, but, so, yeah, so the fact that this all caps someone is really good looking is basically the cherry in the bottom of my cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper. Diet Dr. Pepper. I don't know why that matters, but, you know, it's so amazing. And so, because I'm feeling this way about somebody, and it's so powerful, here comes the little, you know, I don't know, craving for the fairy tale, you know? The little, I don't even know, like, it's almost like having a little, like, monster in my head that goes, I want the fairy tale! Happily ever after, bitches! You know, and it's maddening because, you know, this person could so easily do to me what JC did to me and use it against me. And if anything, he's obliterating it, and it's maddening and refreshing, and it's a mixed bag of nuts in my head, y'all. It is a mixed bag of nuts, because on the one hand I'm like, no, please just randomly show up outside of my balcony. I mean, I know you don't know where I live, but, you know, please just randomly, like, stalk me and figure out where I live, and then show up outside of my balcony holding up a boombox and playing Peter Gabriel or whatever, you know. Because, you know, say anything, me. You know? Or, oh, you know, my favorite, like, stupid teen movie scene ever is, that one from 10 Things I Hate About You, where Heath Ledger serenades Julia Stiles with the help of the marching band, and, you know, I love you, baby, and oh, I just bought that movie on Amazon Prime, and oh, I love it. I watched it like 3 times in a row because that's one of my favorite movies of all time. But, you know, and I know it's so stupid to want that. I know it is, because that's not how life works, y'all.